So we're back now, we're set up proper, we have a mic, we can chat a bit of, I'm not going to say it because I'll have to mute it. But yeah, the last video, probably going to go back and re-edit that and do some talking over that because no one knows what's going on if you don't know what I'm doing, so we'll get that sorted out. So yeah, here tonight, we're stripping these door cards, we're going to get these doors off, get the shell bare, windscreen's coming out soon, so we can get the full shell epoxy primered. And the reason we're going to put epoxy primer on the shell is because it's a rust inhibited primer, it's chemical resistant, all round it's just better for resprays and corrosion, rust. I will epoxy prime the shell and then I'll fully entirely block the shell by hand with a block and then fully prime it black, ready for the colour, which is purple. Merlin Pearl is the colour we're going with, so yeah. And the reason that, as I seen an RS6 in that colour and it was absolutely stunning, so that's the reason behind that. So anyway, here we are taking these quarter glasses out. These are really easy to take out, spray a bit of watery soap in behind them, pop out real nice. You can do them on your own. Same with the wing mirrors, provided no one's been at the wing mirrors before and ratched the hook that locates the door. If no one's been in there, then you can take all them off without having someone stood around holding it. But yeah, don't quote me on that, because if someone's ratched your mirror off and you take them screws out, that will hit the deck if someone's broke that locator. So yeah, just disconnecting all the wires there and the switches. And by switches, I did mean plugs for the window switches, the speaker, the central lock, and so yeah, disconnect all that, feed it back through the door, and then disconnect the loom. So yeah, take that wing mirror off, and obviously that's got an indicator into the wing mirror, and that wire is always hidden in the gaiter that goes in between the door and the body of the van. They're always fun to find and try and replace, they're a nightmare to get to. So yeah, that quarter glass just pops out nice and easy. Now I want to keep that white card I'm taking off there because they're not the easiest to get hold of. The one on the other door has been taken off before and it's all ripped, so I'm just going to try and source a new one of them. I'll probably end up paying more money than I want for a bit of plastic, but Mercedes have designed it to be there for a reason. I mean, I've ripped them off before and not put them back on. So, you know, it is a van at the end of the day. You don't probably need it, but it does help. You know, they've designed it to be there for a reason, so you're best off putting it back. So yeah, just taking that rubber gaiter off. That's got two plastic clips in the ends that hold it tight to the door and the body. Speaker off. That's 4 Torxes that holds that to the door. Nothing too special. So them templates, I make them up for when I strip any motor. It's just so much easier. If you label all that, it makes sense. You can just put it back like clockwork. You don't want to be spending hours rooting through a bag of bolts or a cup, figuring out what goes where because you didn't label it or haven't got photographs. So yeah, there is positives and there's methods to the madness with all this sort of stuff because, you know, time is money. So the quicker you can build it, the quicker, the more profit in the job, you know, that's just how it is. So if you can strip and build quick, then you're making good money. So that's how this trade works. So yeah, taking the barrel out there, these Sprinter handles are so easy to take out. Again, mint. Some handles are a nightmare. Like you can take, like they've got electric plugs on them for some of these electric handles now on Range Rovers, Porsches, Teslas and stuff. Like you can only back a Torx out 3 turns, and then if you go more than that, there's an aluminium block in the back of the door with thread in it, and that'll drop in the door, and then you're taking door cards off, and you don't need to take door cards off to take certain handles out. So yeah, some handles are just a nightmare, but these are really easy. So yeah, just disconnecting the glass from the window motor there, disconnecting the window motor from the door, taking that out. Again, we're stripping these doors down, fully bare doors, because we're going for a colour change. We don't leave anything in around here, we don't mask anything, we're not about that. If I'm doing a job, I'm doing it mint. To the highest standard I can do it anyway, which I would say would be mint, because I'm not happy with a lot of jobs that I put out, but you got to be your own worst critic as a painter, and I am that in that respect. I always slag my own work off, but you've got to in one respect, otherwise you'll be happy with putting crap work out all the time, and I'm not content with that. You know, I want to be putting mint work out, and that's what we're about here. So we want to do things right. It does take a lot longer, don't get me wrong. Like if you wanted to, you could flick that van in 2 weeks, but it wouldn't be to the standard I'd want it. And you know, the painted in the factories as bare shells, bare doors, and then all the stuff's fitted. They're not painted with the glass in, or the rubbers, or the handles. You know, all that stuff is put in after the paint is on. So that's why we go to this extent of stripping it all, because it's not done like that in the factory. Everything is at the doors. It's a bare shell. That's how it should be done. So that's what we're doing. Yeah, just that was the internal lock that just popped off there, so just feeding him back in. That is the inner gasket for the exterior handle that sits in behind the door and holds your exterior handle to the door. So if you ever wondered what holds your exterior handle to the door of your car or your van, it's got a plastic internal like that holds it to the door. Taking that rubber out again, you don't want to bend them, you want to take them out as straight and as nicely as you can, and you want to store them in the shape that they originally are, because once they disform, they do not go back how they should or how you want them to. I learnt that the hard way, so if anyone can take that and not learn the hard way, I'd rather that. So yeah, just going to take the check strap bolt out now. So you want to close the door as tightly as you can when doing that, because check straps are under that much pressure. You will not be able to pull that out with your hands. So I'm pulling that in as tightly as I can, undoing the bolt. So basically when you put the door back on with the check strap in the door, the check strap won't be fully extended and smash into your A-pillar and take all your paint off, because I've seen boys do that on freshly painted motors and it's not pleasant to watch. Again, I've learnt that the hard way. We've all made heavy mistakes like that learning, but when you learn the hard way, you don't do it again. So yeah, looking for the right torques here, because I didn't have the right reverse torques to take the slack and the grub screws off. Again, the great thing about these front Sprinter cab doors is they'll lift onto welded hinges. The hinges are welded to the body. You've got hinges that are bolted to your door, but the hinges that are on the body are welded on, so you can get your mate Jack, take a bit of the pressure off the door, and he'll just drop off the hinges real easy, or lift off the hinges, should I say. Not drop, because he's a lift-on door. Again, taking them doors off on your own isn't ideal, but you know, we're here late at night, we're trying to crack on. They're easy to take off, and once you take all the stuff out of them, they're fairly light. It's all the glass and the window motors and all the rubbers and all the handles. That's what makes your doors heavy. Your wing mirror. Lifting fully built doors on is not pleasant, but a bare door with nothing in, they're really light. It is quite surprising, to be honest. So yeah, just going to box everything up, label it, it's all there. Can go into storage while I get prepped and paint on the shell, and then I'll get the panels done. That's the best way to do it. Get your shell painted, and then you can get your panels done, lift your panels on, and away you go, then start building. So yeah, all them cardboard templates. The van's a bit of a mess in the back at the minute. I've got the wings in there, I've got all sorts. I've got a box there with tools and bits that I'm constantly using, so shout out to the little Tesco box there with all the tools in. Temporary toolbox. Take this door card off. So there's 4 Torxes in each corner, or there's 1 in each corner, 4 in total, and then in behind that plastic handle cover I'm taking off now, there's 2 Torxes in there, and then that's you can just literally pull that card and that'll pop off, and disconnect your handle cable and disconnect your window switch, and that is you with your passenger card. Really easy to take off. So again, nothing mental. Nothing like some of the door cards I've taken off recently. Electric Porsches and things, they're not the most pleasant things to strip. Built well, but built too well to take apart. So that's all I'm going to say on that one. So yeah, you can see that white inner card's all been ripped out before, so someone's been in there before. This door has been painted. As I say, when I took the exterior handle out, which is what I'm doing now, taking that Torx out, you can back him out all the way and he won't drop in the door, as long as you don't let him drop in the door. But the inner handle gasket did have white overspray on it. And again, the locators were broke, so that was my obvious telltale sign. Someone's been in there and not masked it properly, or not taken it out when they painted the door, which is not a big job to do. You can drop that in the door when you paint it and it wouldn't exactly go far. So yeah, I'm trying to back them screws out for the main latch in the door. That's what all my cables are hooked onto for all my handles, locking. So I want to get that out. Give myself more room to get the main window motor and the glass out. So yeah, here we are again, cardboard template. That's just the way I do things, methods to the madness. Not everyone does it like that, but that's just how I am. I like to be organised. Bit weird like that, but it's not bad. We don't want to lose stuff. Disconnecting the loom there. My box of tools just sat in the back of the van. Disconnecting that loom, that just hooks along under the door there. Take him out all the way through the door again, same as the other side. Nothing really differs too much. These sprinter doors, again, I've said it, they're so easy to take apart. Anyone with a bit of knowledge of motors could take one apart fairly easily if you ever needed to. Just popping my window switch out of the door card there so I can go and drop the glass in the door. Go around, turn the ignition on, drop the glass where I want it, turn the ignition off. And yeah, we can start loosening the glass from the glass bolts from that hold it to the motor, and loosen the motor from the door as well. You're best off trying to lower the glass into the door. This was pretty seized into the motor. Even when I'd backed the bolts out, that wasn't coming out. I thought I was going to break that. I've never actually broke any customers' glasses, to be brutally honest. But it's always a worry when you're stripping doors and you're like banging on glass to get it to loosen and it just doesn't. But yeah, thankfully I've never broken one yet. There's always time. I probably will break one at some point. Yeah, it's a hard old game, it's taking stuff apart without breaking it and without scratching it. It's all good taking it apart now when you're painting it, but it's putting it back together without scratching it and without damaging anything. That's where the skill and you know what you're doing comes into it. Anyone can take it apart. It's putting it back together without scratching it and putting it back together well. That's one thing I always say, you know, anyone can strip anything, but you know, I want to see you put it back together when it's freshly painted without damaging it, because that's where it comes down to it. It's not easy, but when you do it every day, 9 to 5, then it becomes easy. If you can work smart and not hard, then that's the best way, because you don't need to work hard if you can work smart. But it's knowing how to work smart. So again, that wing mirror was held on with 3 Torxes and it was just hooked on the door because it hadn't actually been broken. Taking the wiring loom out the door, feeding the other plugs back into the main A-pillar there. Again, I'll put a cable tie on to hook them out when I want to. When I'm building it up. Again, closing the door, releasing the check strap bolt because they're under some pressure. It's just easier to do that. I've seen boys put screwdrivers in the hole and hold them in the hole in the A-pillar and pull the door out, but I just don't like doing that. It's not for me. You just got to think about it when you're stripping it to remember to close the door as you back the Torx bolt out of the check strap so it stays in the closed position. It's easier to keep the door fully open and undo the bolt, but I'd rather it be easier to when it comes to building it back up. I haven't got to then start ratcheting at it, you know, and start potentially scratching paint, because that's not what we're about. So yeah, taking that rain seal off the top of the door, that's just clipped on. That's really easy to take off. Quarter glass, again, these are easy to take out on your own and put back in. I put these in on my own all the time. They're so easy to do. Don't need no window specialist to take them out. They're easy enough. But yeah, the windscreen will be getting cut out by the windscreen guys because that's not my forte. Again, these main rubbers that I'm taking out now, you want to take them out as nice and straight as you can, because once they bend, they disform and they don't go back into the shape. You can see there I was trying to do a bit, put it back to shape because it did come a bit of a curve to it, but it didn't go too bad. We can save that one. So yeah, just taking my mate Jack back round now, loosening the grub screws off just before so it can take a bit of the weight of the door, and the door just lifts off the welded on hinges on the body. Bringing the jack this side, make it easier for myself. So yeah, fighting with that door a bit, he lifted off nice and easy. Again, down on the concrete. If that was a customer's door, that would not be the case. That would be on something nice and soft. But we're here late at night, so, and it's my van, it doesn't really matter in that respect, but if that was someone else's, it wouldn't be just on the concrete. So yeah, rubber out the door. That's the main gasket for the check strap. They're glued on with double-sided glue. Spraying some tar and glue on that, and that just falls off. Because they rip. If you start pulling on them without any tar and glue or warming them up with a heat gun, they just tear and rip. I've seen people do that, so you're just better spraying some tar and glue, let it soak. Window motor, everything's boxed up. We're trying to box stuff up there, but there's not many cardboard boxes around, so I'm trying to fit big stuff into small boxes. Not ideal. So this is the next night, just after 5 o'clock. So we're back at it. Just taking that latch out. I had that left the other night, but I just wanted to go home. It was too late. I was really tired. So now onto the rear doors, taking the door cards off, taking them clips out. Probably not going to reuse them clips, I'm not sure yet, but we'll keep them because they're original Mercedes ones, so it's always good to keep old original clips because they're hard to come by, unless you want to go and spend big money on genuine clips. You know, then not many people want to do that. But I'm undecided. I'm going to keep all the templates so I can cut them, whatever material I use when I build the van, because it's not going to go back how it was. It's going to be a bit more kitted out. We're going to do something special with it, something a bit more trick. Nothing queer or anything, but something mint. So for people that know me and know the van, you know what I'm on about. So yeah, taking the main latch and wires and stuff out the door there, main door lock and stuff. Again, them rear doors have been painted because when it comes to taking the handle gasket out, it was all overspray on it, so I could tell someone had been in there. Obvious sign. I've not painted the doors. It's been painted before I've bought the van. A lot of these vans are painted after factory anyway, like the amount of times vans are painted, even brand new vans, see it all the time, damaged when they're getting imported, brand new, no miles on them, showroom miles on them, and they're, you know, getting smashed up, getting imported. It's not good, but as long as I'm not damaging them, I don't care. That's the way I see it. So yeah, feeding the loom back through into the shell so that can be hidden away for paint. Them plastic gaskets around them, they always break. I do struggle to take them out without breaking them, but they'll only be a couple of quid, so I'll replace them, the ones I have broke. So there I'm just putting some metal clips that hold the interior handle on a cable tying that to my cardboard template. Everything stays together for that door, you know, I can find it, it's easy. Check straps, they'll get painted black again. They're a bit rusty, they don't look it there on camera, but they are a bit rusty then, so we're going to paint them. So yeah, taking these rear doors off on my own now. Again, this is after 5 o'clock. This wasn't the most ideal situation on my own, but if you work smart, you can do stuff like this on your own. So I go for the first bolt as the bottom one, then go to the top, take one, back down to the bottom, take another one, go back to the top, and then there's one left in bottom and top then. So we just crack them with a ratchet, get the Torx onto the gun, get my arm up into the door cavity. I can wrestle the door onto the shoulder then without dropping it or damaging it, and that's what we don't want. We don't want to drop it and damage it because that's not what we want. But it's not ideal taking doors this size off on your own, but you can do it if you work smart and use your head. Like you see, I've done that there. Nice and easy, nice and steady. So we're just going to place them down there, then we'll go get a trestle in a minute. Just took some little black gaskets off the hinges there. That's what we're doing there. So yeah, I get a new template there now for the bolts that go from the body to the door and the door to the hinge. Because the ones that go from the hinge to the door are a different length to the ones that go from the hinge to the body. So you want to make sure you keep them the right way around because they're a different length for different reasons. So you want to make sure they go back where they come from. It's easy to just say, oh, they're the same size, take them out, put them back in, they're wrong. It's not what you want. And same with your bottom and top hinges. You've got a bottom hinge and a top hinge because they open at different angles. I know it sounds weird because the door opens parallel, but they do have different ways of swinging open, your bottom and your top hinge. So yeah, just removing them hinges now. We're not leaving them on for paint. We're painting everything off the van. We're doing full colour change, so we're doing it right. This is how we do things around here. I don't like to cut corners anyway. No one does. I like to think no one does anyway. If you're doing this sort of work, you've got to go that extra mile and do it right. That's the way I see it. I'm not in it for cutting corners. So yeah, taking that gasket out there, them gaskets I don't like. They're plastic, they're brittle, they tend to break. Bit of rust around the corners of the doors, that's me just scraping bits off there. Seeing how bad it is. It wasn't too bad. So yeah, just getting a box there now. We're going to get everything boxed up. Everything's nice and organised where we want it. It's going to be going into storage for a week or two, you know, probably maybe 2-3 weeks while I get the shell done, and then we're on to the panels then. I don't know if you've seen that there was a bit of white overspray around that inner handle gasket. That's an obvious sign to me that the rear doors have been painted before, because I've not painted them in the time I've had the van. So, and I also found there was a bit of damage on that gasket, so that tells me someone's been ratcheting at that before to take that out. So we'll have to get the part number off that, get a new one of them ordered. Not an issue. So yeah, onto the other door now. Rubber off, these wooden panels out, all the screws out. Them wooden panels, I will keep them for my templates. For whatever material I put back in, I'll use them for my shape so I can cut out. Put all them screws in the bin. We don't want that nice Porsche behind me going over them and having them in the tyres, because I'll be having to fit the bill. So we don't need that on our life right now. So yeah, try not to drop any of them screws on the deck, because that'll be responsible for that. We don't need that in our life. So yeah, taking that interior handle out, that's just 2 Torxes there. Nice and easy to take out that one. The plastic pops off from the exterior, like you see there. And then I'm just trying to loosen it in there, ready to disconnect the top latch, which I'm doing now. So that's 3 Torxes on that, and then there's 2 on the bottom. So I'm just loosening the cable, because sometimes they're a bit stiff in there. Make sure it's nice and loose. So then just disconnect this bottom one as well. So yeah, that's disconnected. Pull the looms out the door, the wires, the catches, get this door stripped, get it off. It's going to be so good when this shell is finally bare. You feel like you're making progress when you take all the panels off a van. When you finally get one to a bare shell, you feel like you're making progress when you're doing resprays. I can't explain it. You know, when you do the job, you know what I'm talking about, but when you don't do it, you won't really get what I'm on about. So there, that trim I've just taken off, that has 2 metal 10mm bolts going from the back that were seized, and I'm gonna go cut them out in a minute. Just getting another template here, get a drill bit. This is just my method to the madness of doing stuff. Everything's in cardboard templates, that's just the way I like it. It's just dead easy for me. I'm OCD and weird like that, but I know where everything is when I go back to it. It's all laid out. Just go get the mask out my mixing room. Going to do some grinding now. We're going to cut them metal studs out the door that were holding that trim on, that were just spinning. This Aircat, this is some grinder. I don't do a massive amount of metal work, but this is probably my favourite tool in the toolbox. This air powered grinder off the compressor, absolute animal of a thing. So precise as well, like it's so much easier than a battery powered 4.5-inch grinder. Them things are wild to use, but that Aircat is so precise and cuts so good. Like I say, I'm not a big metal guy, I'm a painter by trade, so I don't get to do a lot of metal work, so it's nice to get to use stuff like that. So yeah, just cutting them out the door, trying not to catch the door with a grinder or the belt sander there. Don't want to be damaging the door with anything that I don't need to. That number plate, I'm going to be replacing it, so I take that off and I actually break that there, so I'm not too bothered about that because I'm replacing them anyway. They're £10, the number plate, something like that. It's not breaking the bank. So yeah, get this door ready to come off now, loosen the check strap in a minute, take the latch off. There's a lot less stuff in this door than there was the other door. Yeah, I didn't actually have a pre-made template for this door for some reason. I must have lost the one off the last Sprinter I've done. Disconnect all the loom there. Again, them gaiters, the rubbers are easy to pop out, but it's the plastic inserts that hold the rubber gaiter to the body and the door. They're so hard to take out without breaking them. They're so brittle. They're like a one-time fit. So I will have to replace all 4 of them because there's 2 on either side. So there's a check strap. That'll be getting painted because I've got some overspray on that for when I've squirted some epoxy primer on late one night on a weekend. It was 6:30. I was trying to get stuff done. It's my van. I wasn't masking stuff up. I didn't need to if I was painting it. But if that was a customer's one, that would not have been like that. So again, just trying to loosen some plastic inserts that come in the doors from factory. They're what you're supposed to screw your number plate to, but I just don't agree with putting metal screws for number plates and doors because the screws rust, they leave big orange stains down your doors. Just put them on with stickies. I have a big gripe with people that put screws in doors and bumpers. I don't like it. But that's just my personal preference, just me being a fussy person. But we're allowed to be fussy when we do this for a job. So I'm just looking for some foam blocks there. So yeah, good habit. If that was a customer door, that's what you lift them into. Nice. That's what we receive brand new doors in, them blocks. So yeah, just doing this door again on my own. one at the bottom, one at the top, bottom, top, and then get the gun. It's harder with this side because I'm not as strong on my left shoulder as I'm on the right, and I'm having to try and look for a way of fishing my arm in the door that's comfortable, because once that weight goes, as you can see, it went top heavy, and you don't want that going top heavy and cartwheeling over your head and landing on the concrete, because then there'll be some tears. Probably from me, because I'll be the one that has to fix it. So yeah, that wouldn't be good. So yeah, just take that door off the trestle and lift the other one on. So again, them doors aren't the heaviest now, they're all stripped. Still not the lightest, but they're easy enough to lift on your own. Just all about technique, lifting big doors like that on your own. You know, it's all about how you lift stuff. I don't care how strong or how cool you are with your technique, no one man will lift a sliding door off on their own. I'm yet to see someone do that and without damaging it. Unless you've got 7 arms and you're from Foxdale, then give it a crack, but I've never seen someone take a sliding door off on their own because they're just too hard to do. Like, you probably could do it, but you're just better off with 2 people. They're too big, they're too heavy. You've got to fish your centre catch out of the rail that runs on the exterior of the van. You've got to loosen your top roller. You've got to do your bottom roller. There's too much to do on them for one man, and hold the weight of the door and take it off. But yeah, the front cab doors and the rear barn doors, one man can take them off fairly easy as long as you know what you're doing. Now to the sliding door, so torque's out for the handle. Started taking the torques out, but then the welder turned up. He was kind enough to offer me some of his time to lift the sliding door off with me, so yeah, big shout out to Yuri, the Greek fella, for doing that with me, top man. He did not have to give his time up for that, so yeah, I was really grateful for that because I wouldn't have been able to take that off on my own. So yeah, taking the bottom runner bolts out there, 3 on the bottom, 3 on the top. So yeah, you've got a runner in your top rail and a runner in your bottom, and then you've got your centre sliding door rail, which is on the exterior of the van. So yeah, I'm just trying to get them bolts out as quick as I can because your man is there stood holding the weight of the door, making sure it doesn't go off the side of the van and wreck the side of the van for me. I'm just unlocating the centre catch out of the rail there so we can fish it off the side of the van. And away we go, we're off, we're on a trestle. So we're just back putting the bolts in my template, keeping it nice and organised the way we like it. Rubber out, they're getting replaced. So we'll keep them for the part numbers so we can get them. Top latch out, then down to the bottom one. They'll all get painted black again. It is getting late at this point, so yeah, get that centre catch out and then the rail off, and we get a nasty surprise behind the rail. It's a nice little rot hole. The last one on the rail, that is going to need some welding, so. But it is a Sprinter after all, we expect rust and rot. But yeah, I'm pretty tired at this point now, so I'm going to say a big shout out to all the yeses for watching me graft away and make this content, whether you like it or not. I appreciate people giving the nights up and the time to watch it. It means a lot, so thank you so much. Give us a like and all, you know.